The hunting grounds of Xerion Prime had not seen a challenge in 300 cycles. The Predator King, Vexthul the Bone Render, ruled these crystalline forests with absolute dominion. His midnight black carapace gleamed like obsidian in the alien starlight, and his 4 arms ended in claws that could slice through starship hull plating. Standing 12 feet tall on digitigrade legs, he was evolution's perfect killing machine. No sentient being had ever walked his territory uninvited, and lived. Until today, the human, if that's what the databanks called his species, trudged through the luminescent undergrowth with the casual indifference of someone taking an evening stroll through a park. He was unremarkably built. Average height, lean frame, wearing simple cargo pants and a faded t-shirt that read "Earth Third Rock from the Sun." A worn backpack hung from his shoulders, and he occasionally sipped from a metal water bottle. Vexthul had been tracking him for 2 kilometers now, moving through the canopy like liquid shadow. The human showed no signs of awareness, no quickened heartbeat, no stress pheromones. This confused the Predator King. Every other species, the warrior Kelthans with their powered exoskeletons, the psychic Mindari with their precognitive abilities, even the cybernetically enhanced Zephyrians, had sensed his presence long before he struck. But this human just walked. Vexthul decided to announce himself properly. He dropped from a crystal tree 40 feet above, landing with earth-shaking force directly in the human's path. His impact sent shockwaves through the ground and shattered several nearby crystal formations. He rose to his full, terrifying height and unleashed his legendary war roar, a sound that had made entire armies flee in terror, a bone-deep bellow that triggered primal fear responses in every known sentient species. The human stopped walking, looked up from his water bottle, and yawned. Then he stepped around Vexthul and kept walking. The Predator King stood frozen, his roar dying in his throat. In 3 centuries of combat across 17 different star systems, nothing, absolutely nothing, had ever responded to his presence with such casual dismissal. The human hadn't even bothered to change his pace. "Wait," Vexthul called out, his voice carrying the harmonics of a creature born to command. "Do you know who I am?" The human paused and turned back, raising an eyebrow. "Let me guess. Local, apex predator, undefeated champion of something, probably got a title involving death or doom or render in it." Vexthul's 4 eyes narrowed. "I am Vexthul the Bone Render, Predator King of Xerion Prime. I have killed over 10,000 sentients in single combat. I have—" "Cool," the human interrupted, already turning away. "I'm Dave. Nice meeting you." And he started walking again. The Predator King's mind reeled. This wasn't how encounters were supposed to go. There should be terror, desperate fighting, honor-bound last stands, something. But this Dave treated him with the same attention one might give a street lamp. "You dare turn your back on me?" Vexthul snarled, his claws extending to full length. "Look, man," Dave said without stopping. "I've been walking for 6 hours. I've got maybe 2 hours of daylight left to reach the research station, and my feet are killing me. Unless you're planning to eat me or give me directions, I really need to keep moving." Vexthul bounded ahead of him with liquid grace, blocking his path once more. "I am the apex predator of this world. I have never been defeated." Dave sighed and pulled out what appeared to be a small electronic device. He consulted it briefly. "According to my ecological survey data, you're actually the 3rd most dangerous predator on this continent. The crystalline boreworms in Sector O7 have a higher fatality rate, and don't get me started on those microscopic neural parasites near the polar regions." The Predator King felt something unfamiliar, confusion that bordered on existential crisis. "You researched me?" "Standard xenobiology protocol," Dave said, shouldering his pack more comfortably. "Before setting foot on any Class M world, we catalog all major predators, their hunting patterns, territorial boundaries, threat levels, and behavioral predictors. You scored a 6.2 on the Davidson Lethality Index." "What's the highest score?" Vexthul found himself asking. 10. That's reserved for extinction-level planetary threats. There's a gas giant in the Vega system where the atmospheric organisms hit 9.8. Now those things are scary. Vexthul stared at this human, this Dave, trying to process what he was hearing. You're saying I'm not that dangerous? Dave shrugged. You're a large, solitary ambush predator with above-average intelligence and physical capabilities. Pretty standard for Class M worlds, actually. We've encountered 43 similar species across the galaxy. Most of you guys are actually pretty reasonable once you get past the territorial posturing. Territorial posturing? The words came out as a whisper. Yeah, the whole roaring from great heights thing. It's intimidation display behavior. Very common among apex predators who rely on psychological warfare as much as physical capabilities. Dave checked his device again. Look, I'm not trying to diminish what you do. I'm sure you're very good at it, but from our perspective, you're just... Tuesday. Vexthul felt his worldview cracking. Just Tuesday? We've been traveling between stars for centuries, Dave explained patiently. We've seen cosmic horrors that exist in 11 dimensions, fought wars against machine intelligences older than your sun, and befriended energy beings that consider supernovas a form of artistic expression. You're impressive for a planetary scale, threat, but in the bigger picture. He made a so-so gesture with his hand. The Predator King slowly sat down on his haunches, his claws retracting. I was the strongest thing on this world. And that's great. Good for you, Dave said with genuine warmth. Look, if it makes you feel better, you'd absolutely wreck most human settlements from our early spacefaring period. A few centuries ago, encountering something like you would have been a major crisis requiring military intervention. And now? Dave glanced at his chronometer. Now I file a xenobiology report. Recommend establishing a nature preserve around your territory, and suggest including a warning beacon for tourist ships. Standard first contact protocols for megafauna. There was a long silence in the crystalline forest. Would you like to walk with me to the research station? Dave offered. I've got protein bars if you're hungry. They're pretty good. Teriyaki flavor. Vexthul the Bone Render, Predator King of Xerion Prime, stood up and fell into step beside the human. For the first time in 3 centuries, he felt something other than the thrill of the hunt. He felt curious. Tell me about these 11-dimensional, cosmic horrors, he said. Dave smiled and pulled out another protein bar. Oh, you're going to love this story. It starts with a routine survey mission to what we thought was an empty star system. As they walked deeper into the crystal forest, the Predator King learned that in the vast cosmos, being the biggest fish in a small pond just meant you hadn't met the ocean yet. But perhaps, he thought, that wasn't such a bad thing to discover. After all, the ocean was full of far more interesting things than he had ever imagined.